The merger of the century may be coming, maybe even the merger of the millennium, certainly the biggest merger of any company we've seen in a year, starting with the number 2, since I guess maybe the year 230. I don't know. Many companies that were around back then, hardly the point. The point is I've got Randy Kirk here. Randy's already made several videos on this topic. He has been thinking about it since before these articles came out. But that's what we're going to talk about, is the potential for a merger between Tesla and X/XAI. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. Randy, you've seen it. You've seen it. I don't have to share it with you, but I guess I'm going to share it with the viewers at home. Walter Isaacson says major merger could be imminent. I think it's going to happen. Tesla could eventually merge with another of its companies, XAI. Now, XAI and X already merged. I'll have you talk about that first, and then we'll get into this, but I'm going to finish this part. Walter Isaacson, the prominent Musk biographer who has received unprecedented access to Tesla CEO, recently said he expects the two companies to eventually merge. During a CNBC interview, Isaacson said combining them would ultimately better serve each company's mission. So first, let's talk about the not too long ago merger between X and XAI and what that meant.
Okay, so there was a lot of reasons for the in what I've been able to dig into for X and XAI to merge, not least of which was to clean up all of the mess that was associated with Elon buying it at one price, having the stock market combined with the way people saw the merger devalue it overnight to very low numbers, even before he took possession of it. Then he had to do some fancy financing to get it. So he's sitting there with X, with a financial, a not very good setup with regard to the financing. He's got this new company that he started, XAI, which was financed almost entirely from venture capital. And that one is in great shape. It's going up in value. It's got a clean sheet. So by merging the two of them, it gave great value to both. It's like 1 + 1 equals 2.5, as well as cleaning up the balance sheet, paying off some of those loans and making the whole thing just a lot cleaner. You also get a combination of, there was so much interaction between the two companies. It was almost like they were one anyway, because they both required kind of each other in order to be effective. So you got that advantage in addition. So those were the two big ones from my standpoint.
Very symbiotic. XAI needed the training data from X. X needed the AI from XAI. And then, how you going to run Grok in-house? That's not really what it's, that's not how it was ever meant to be. So to bring them together like that, and of course, I saw a lot of people who were very angry and bitter. Why would these two companies merge? And I'd say, are you a shareholder of either of those companies? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you're not. There's probably only 200, 300 shareholders for the companies combined. And those people all had a say and said yes.
And not only that, most of them
but
were
the majority. Yes. Yeah. And they're the majority stakeholders. Now, of course, there's, I'm sure, employees who have a handful of stock. Maybe they're not as excited about it. But the major stakeholders who have the most vested interest in these companies both surviving and thriving and prospering were pleased with the merger. I'm not an investor in either of those companies. I'm not eligible to be. They're not my cup of tea anyhow. I don't invest in things that I don't completely understand. And it's worked out well for me. So then we get to Tesla. Well, what value would XAI/X bring to Tesla and vice versa? I think this is where we get into your coverage of the recent rumor more precisely.
So we started out, of course, months and months and months ago. I would say maybe back at the time when XAI was formed, when people were going, why was XAI set up as a separate business? And even if it was set up as a separate business, why couldn't Tesla own a piece of XAI so that we as shareholders of Tesla would get some advantage of the remarkable what we expected to be remarkable increase in values that were coming, which in fact took place. So, but that never happened, and Elon kept saying, "Well, it could, it could happen, we could do that," but it never did. So, as the other merger took place, now you've got again a huge amount of intercompany activity, massive amounts of intercompany activity. I mean, for instance, when Elon just goes out to his 200 followers on X and says something nice about Tesla, Tesla's not having to pay X for that. If he probably wouldn't go out and say something nice about Kroger unless Kroger paid something for that privilege. So you've got this again, all kinds of interactions. You've got maybe the biggest one and probably the most important one, and maybe the reason why it would happen the most likely is the two data centers. So clearly, Memphis for XAI, that data center already is the largest data center in the world, will continue to be the largest data center in the world. And potentially, Elon believes that when 3.5 comes out here in the next few days, even, that it will be by far the best LLM out there. Meanwhile, down in Texas, you've got a data center that is by far the largest real world data center in the world, bringing in real world data, training real world embodied products as opposed to just computerized products. That's the largest in the world. Okay. And it's, using vision and using video, et cetera, for its training, where you've got the Memphis data center doing mostly from words and more traditional sources, although some video and whatnot as well. If you combine those two, if you now have both of those resources under the same company, you probably have a better chance of getting to AGI first. And that, of course, is the golden ticket.
So to clarify a few things, as I understand, Memphis is the largest AI data center in the world that we know of. Who knows what militaries are doing? And what I would say is you've got Memphis is doing what you'd call, white collar computation, brain art computation, where Tesla is doing manual labor stuff, driving, operating tools, the robot and car stuff. And those are two different competencies. But the reality is both companies have already been leaning on each other for installation expertise, for networking breakthroughs. I imagine they're both using the Tesla internet protocol that was developed because if it works, it works. And I don't believe that X was paying XAI to use Grok. And if they were, all the more reason to get married. If you're already married in practice, might as well make it official at some point, and better to do that now before XAI is worth 10 times what it is in the future. I would love to hear in the comments what you guys think is a reasonable approach to this. Do you want Tesla attached to X and XAI? Should it be separate? And if you're one of those people who thinks the government should already be privatizing SpaceX, what you can do is press Alt and then F4, and that should get you to the right place on the internet, which is to say off of it. So what am I missing on this story? You've got quite a bit of coverage. What am I missing?
What are you missing on this story? So the one of the big questions is going to be how to value. So
that indeed.
So this is already something that's being discussed. People are already discussing this. People that know way more about it than I do. You and I both know a couple of people who have ownership in both. Some of these people are on my channel, probably have been on your channel, and have ownership in both as private investors. And so there's a lot of conversation right now about how do you bring in third party evaluators? Do you just sit down across the conference table and come to an agreement? Because there's going to probably be some pretty significant outside
A wide range
a
for
wide range
sure.
of people that are going to say that was not a good deal, or that was not arm's length, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of conversation about how to value it if it's going to happen. There's also a matter of the timing. We should be looking at a shareholders meeting soon. Like,
Hmm.
I think they have to give, what is it, 90 days notice?
60 days, 90 days,
I
something.
forget. So we're already looking at August at this point. So I would think we would be getting some kind of an announcement fairly soon about a meeting. Is that one of the reasons it's being held up this year and is going a little late? Maybe because they're trying to put together the paperwork in order to present it to shareholders. But those are some of the issues on the technical side, if you will.
And what do you think this would do to Elon's ownership stake in Tesla?
That's a very good thought. I'd had that thought earlier. I'm glad you reminded me because you didn't even know that I was thinking it, I think. Anyway,
I was sure you were thinking it.
so
I would be, if you weren't, I would have been very
so
surprised.
so Elon, of course, says he wants to have 25% of Tesla. Right now, he's only got maybe 12 and maybe 19, depending on what happens in Delaware, depending on what the shareholders decide to do. But making this combination could be one way to give Elon 25% of the new pie, or maybe it's 23 or 22. There's probably a number less than 25 he'd be happy with. But this might be one way to get that accomplished without having a massive tax consequence.
Yes, that's a good point too. Now, I will point out to the people who are inevitably going to say, and not wrongly, doesn't this put Tesla in monopoly territory? And I disagree. Monopoly is when you blow out all your competitors in a single industry, not when you are a competitor in 10 industries or 100 or 1,000 industries. General Electric was the amalgamation of all of Thomas Edison's companies when he died, or when he retired, I don't recall which. But they brought all of those companies under one umbrella, and it wasn't a monopoly because it was now one company doing 1,000 things instead of 1,000 companies doing one thing. You can have more market pressure, but what you really have is market efficiencies. Like you were saying, 1+1 can equal more than two. When I was with Washington Mutual, we got an inside look at some of the mergers that we had done, where after we brought on another bank, American Savings Bank, which had 150, 200 branches, our cost of doing business improved because, there are costs that are marginal, that don't go up commensurately with the number of branches you have. Some of them get cheaper and cheaper as you scale. So that's a possibility. It would be nice if, when you need something like, when you need good coding, if you have good coders in-house. If you don't have good coders in-house, what they call you then is Ford. So
Or Volkswagen.
apologies to definitely Volkswagen. My apologies to my friends at Ford. I have no friends at Volkswagen, so apologies to Volkswagen for not making friends with me. I don't know, man. Guys, in the comments, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? I'd like to know. This is probably my final plug for the Michigan takeover, the Michigan meetup happening this coming weekend. TeslaMichigan.org to find out about it and see if you're close enough to join me. And Jordan Gasegi and Sandy Monroe and Sue Monroe and Dr. Know-It-All and too many more to mention. So, guys, in the comments, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it. Leave it, I beg of you. And everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.